Hello and welcome again to a Gospel Aerobics Good morning and a Heart Full of Thanks hour. We're here today with you live from Rejoice TV studios. And today we have here our special guest, the great, the one and only Buffalo Soldiers. They're here today to let us know the history of the Buffalo Soldiers and the great things that the Buffalo Soldiers have done. Now, what we're here to do is we want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in with us and being a part of this cast. And also what we're going to do too is that this is just part one. This is just part one of one of the many series that we're going to have on the Buffalo Soldiers. Today we have here, we're going to let them introduce themselves today and tell you a little something about them. Then we're going to come back with the question and answers.
I'm Trooper Martin H. Cruz, Sr. I'm a past president of the Baltimore chapter of the Buffalo Soldiers. I've been with the Buffalo Soldiers now for about 10 years, and I've very much enjoyed the activities we've been involved with.
I'm Trooper Art Talbert, Baltimore chapter of the Buffalo Soldiers. I've been with the Buffalo Soldiers since they first activated in 1996. I'm the past vice president of the Baltimore chapter of the Buffalo Soldiers.
Amen. You know, the Buffalo Soldiers are not just in Baltimore and they're not just in Maryland. They're all over the country. Would y'all like to tell us, when did the Buffalo Soldiers get started?
Actually, the Buffalo Soldiers started, first of all, Mr. Long, let me thank you for allowing us to be here.
Well, thank you.
Because when we go around and talk to different organizations and schools, you'd be surprised at how few people are aware of the Buffalo Soldiers. They may have heard of it, but they don't really know the real story of the Buffalo Soldiers. Right. So it is our privilege to be here. And as many people as we can reach, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Actually, the Buffalo Soldiers started right after the Civil War. You got to remember now, the climate of this country was against war. Therefore, it was very difficult to recruit people into the military, especially white troops. So the government decided that we have a whole reservoir of people who have not been tapped. Ex-slaves. Ex-slaves. So the 9th and 10th Horse Cavalry was arranged and set forth with nothing but slaves. They came out of all parts of the South. They started, first of all, in New Orleans. Then the 9th was in New Orleans, and the 10th was in Kansas City, Missouri. After they put the Buffalo Soldiers together, their mission was nothing more than to help settle the West. They were to escort the wagon trains. They were the law in the West. They did everything that needed to be done in the West that needed to be done as far as the administration is concerned. Buffalo Soldiers not only fought the Indians, they fought the Mexicans, they fought outlaws, they fought anybody that needed to be fought that was interrupting the communities as they were being developed in the West. Now, think about this. You're an ex-slave. You come out of slavery. You have no job. You have no home. You have no way of getting food, clothing, shelter for your family. It was an excellent opportunity for the ex-slaves to go into the military. As a matter of fact, until the Buffalo Soldiers were organized, black men in uniform were... Did you want me to stop? Oh. Black men in uniform were illegal until Congress decided to put the Buffalo Soldiers into activity in 1864. So, you can really say that the Buffalo Soldiers were the first legalized soldiers in this country. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't understand that the Buffalo Soldiers were the first legalized. Where did the name come from? It came from the Indians. The Indians gave them the name because they were strong fighters, first of all, and secondly, we had this different color skin, just like the buffaloes did, and we had this woolly hair. But the main reason was that because the Buffalo Soldiers were fierce fighters. Because if you ever cornered a buffalo, then you know what a fierce fighter it is. The name Buffalo Soldiers was not accepted right off the bat because a lot of people thought it was an insult. But it was not an insult. The Indians saw favor in the buffalo because the Indian got its food, its clothing, and its shelter from the buffalo. So you wouldn't name anything after something that you didn't depend on or need. As a result, they started off by calling them the wild buffaloes. Then it evolved to Buffalo Soldiers. The Buffalo Soldiers is one of the most proud organizations in black military history. They have done any and everything that needed to be done. First of all, they were the first law that hit the West because there was no sheriffs. A lot of the stories that you see on television, John Wayne and the rest of those stories, they are Buffalo Soldier stories superimposed with white actors to make the story saleable for Hollywood. The story they just had on last week, I was telling a young man out in the audience that the horse soldier was John Wayne and William Holden. That was a true Buffalo Soldier story. Amen. True Buffalo Soldier story. But they changed the characters so that they could sell the story. Buffalo Soldiers is a real proud organization.
Okay. And we're glad that you shared that information with us so far. How great the Buffalo Soldiers are. How great we ought to be today.
Right.
We look on the corner sometimes, we see some of our young people standing in the corner with no hope, looking around like there's nothing to do, have no care, no future, no nothing. But we have something great. We were named after buffaloes.
That's right.
Something that the Indians depended on.
That's right.
Somebody tell us a little bit more. That story is great. Tell me some more.
Well, we can go on and on and on about the Buffalo Soldiers. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite stories about the Buffalo Soldiers is how, when they came out of slavery, you can imagine how limited their skills were.
Right.
Because they had to learn how to pick cotton and whatever the slaves did. Had nothing to do with being a soldier, had nothing to do with reading a map, had nothing to do with finding your way around in the terrain, had nothing to do with tactics. So these guys had to learn. One of the greatest things that happened to the Buffalo Soldiers is that there were 4 colonels, black colonels, who were preachers. They were recruited into the military for one reason only: to teach the soldiers how to read and write. And guess what? That's exactly what they did. They taught these soldiers how to read and write to the point that some of them, when they were discharged from the military, went to college. So these colonels that did all of the work to bring the soldiers' educational levels up was excellent idea. Excellent idea. And one of the things that they did was to make sure that they could function in such a way that they would be good soldiers. And you have to be able to read and write in order to be a good soldier.
But that's a good history you gave us. But I want to ask one more question. Just tell me why, after fighting the war, they needed Buffalo Soldiers. After all those people got killed, and all over the place and everything like that. Why do you think they needed us? Why?
Well, first of all, they needed a shot in the arm as far as our military was concerned. We had no military after the Civil War. We had no soldiers. We had no men who were interested in going in to the military. You got to remember the climate of the country at the time. 4 years of Civil War took its toll. People were tired of fighting. Okay, but the black soldier were not involved in the fighting. Even though some were involved in the Civil War, and a lot of people don't understand that. And as a matter of fact, I had a difficult time understanding at first why we would fight against ourselves.
Right.
But we went in to service our masters.
Okay.
Because that's what we were trained to do. And then when the master gave you a gun and said, shoot him, that's what we did.
Okay.
We shot him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there was 300 and some thousand black men in the Civil War.
Okay.
And a lot of them got injured and hurt.
A lot of them got injured and hurt. Do y'all have a copy of that gun that they probably used back in that day of time?
We have some
Replica or
reenactors guns.
Yeah, well, could we take a look at those?
Well, I have with me and Trooper Talbot has his also. This is the 44.
Wow.
It's heavy. It's real, except that it will not shoot anything. It's called a reenactor's pistol.
Okay.
This was an excellent pistol. Excellent.
Same replica. Yeah.
I'm looking at the weight on it. It looks like
It's heavy, yeah.
it looked like a person really had to be in good shape to do it. I guess in that day and time, they must have really had to do a lot of working out to hold something that heavy.
But one thing we can look at, the hardship of the Buffalo Soldiers that they went through, as Trooper Cruz mentioned, they were given hand-me-down uniforms,
Okay.
and then they were given horses. Would you believe that to go in combat, they had to walk the horses close to the area where they were going to fight, then they mount the horses.
Wow.
That's how you had to survive.
That's how-
Out of that $13 a month that they got, $3 of that had to go for other things.
Yeah. One thing about churches, we do go to churches.
Okay.
Art and I are the ones that go most of the time, because we're both deacons in our church, and we go to different churches. Last one we went to, I couldn't make it. I had to go by myself, but we had a half an hour period window to operate. It was 2.5 hours before I got out of there. It was just the kids were just so accepting. They had never heard of it before.
Yes.
And we go to schools, churches, senior citizen centers, anywhere that people want us to come. All you have to do is get in touch with us.
I'm a little hoarse right now, but we like to thank the Buffalo Soldiers for coming out and being a part of this great event.
Trooper Martin H. Cruz, Sr. My number is area code 410-521-5131. Contact me and I will put you in touch with the person you need to be in touch with.
Praise God. I want to thank you all for tuning into A Heart Full of Thanks. And at this time, I'd just like to take an opportunity to thank the Buffalo Soldiers for making this program a success. And as you heard, if you would like to know more about the Buffalo Soldiers, please Google the internet. Again, I just want to thank James Long for hosting this show. Thank you, James Long. Thank you, Buffalo Soldiers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Buffalo Soldiers. And again, we wanted you to know that this is just part one of many series to come. And again, we want to inform our people about their history. So again, thank you, and thank the people at Rejoice World Vision Network for making this possible to be seen around the world. Thank you from your host, James Williams.